Hey, this is Joe at Gray Bench Electronics. Welcome back to the pedal teardown series where I take apart new and interesting pedals and show you what's going on inside. Today we're taking apart the Boss Waza Craft Dimension-C. All right, Dimension-C from Boss, Waza Craft version. This is a remake, Waza Craft remake of the original Dimension-C chorus pedal from Boss, put out in the 80s. It is classed as a chorus pedal, although it works differently than other chorus pedals. I'm not an expert on this pedal, but my understanding is there's two separate bucket brigade analog delay lines, and the pedal modulates the delay times for those two separate delay lines so that when one is at its maximum delay time, the other side is at its minimum delay time, then it swings that back and forth. That's about as much as I understand that. So we're here to check out the pedal itself. Standard Boss enclosure, on and off with a big foot treadle here. Instead of any type of knobs, we have 4 radio buttons. Radio buttons means that when you press one, the other ones pop up. That is how the original unit works. In this case, it's all just digital. Interesting thing is here you can select any of the 4 modes, or you can select any 2 concurrently. You can't select more than 2. You can only select 2 at a time, but any 2 you can select concurrently. There's also a switch here that goes from S, which I would assume is standard, and then SDD320, which is the model number for the Dimension-D, which is a rack mount unit that Boss made that this pedal was originally based on. Stereo in and out jacks, so that's a bit unique. My understanding is that the stereo effect is something definitely worth investigating for this pedal. I haven't tried it. I've tried it in mono. Sounds good to me. I like the Dimension-C. I think it's a really cool chorus effect. It works well clean or distorted. Standard Boss 2.1 millimeter input jack for DC power. Let's open up the pedal. All right, so here is the PCBs of the Boss Waza Craft Dimension-C. Like I said, this was already a complicated pedal, and it got even more complicated with this Waza Craft version. Going over the fairly straightforward stuff, we have our output jacks, input jacks, 9-volt DC. This is the little switching board array, and we can see here on the back there's actually a little, what looks like a little logic chip, a little processor chip. So now the switching is being handled digitally. That corresponds to the function we saw, which is that they are radio buttons only in name. That, yes, if you press one single, it will turn that one on and turn any others off. If you press 2 together, it turns those 2 on, but not 3 or 4 together. So that's all going to be handled by this logic chip here and associated components. Boss fashion, every sort of sub category of parts or job or function is set up on its own little PCB. Even the switch here that's handling switching from the standard mode to the STD320 mode is on its own little tiny board here, connected with just header pins. The radio buttons here, it's a little, I'm pretty sure it's plastic, just like chrome to plastic, over a sort of soft membrane button switch. I tried to lightly pull off one of the covers here, but they're adhered somehow. Standard red LED. Coming down to the main board here, we have a massive array of surface mount components with some exceptions here. The design of the Dimension-C appears to have not changed drastically. We are still using 2 bucket brigade delay lines. That's these pairs of ICs here, and 2 Compander chips. These are, the Companders are SA 570, so that's probably going to be a surface mount remake of the original NE 570 Compander chips. The bucket brigade chips are the Cool Audio V3102D, V3207D. So those are the Cool Audio remakes of the original Panasonic bucket brigade chips. So there you go. Boss has, maybe unofficially, but at least in practice, approved of the use of the Cool Audio chips for bucket brigade delays. So there you go. If you're building clones of the chorus pedal or any of the analog delays and use bucket brigade chips, just know that Boss thinks the Cool Audio chips are good enough. Flipping over to the back here, we have a ton more components. Transistors, probably for switching, JFETs. We've got some ICs down here. They're too small to read. But there are some audio ICs in the circuit for different application factors or buffering. You know, beautiful PCB design as per usual. Boss engineers know what they're doing. Grounding tabs for really secure grounds, always nice. Everything's well labeled. I like to see all the wire connections are provided strain relief with a little bit of a silicon or epoxy, whatever that is. The little daughter board for the input jacks here have a tape insulation just to make sure it doesn't touch anything else. And of course your standard Boss, well actually it's not particularly standard, it's a standard aluminum enclosure. However, there are some unique pieces here. We have some standoffs to connect the extra daughter boards, different routing of course for the switching system, LED hole, little switch for the different modes, and it looks like the panel here is a cover that is covering probably screws or rivets for these standoffs. Boss Dimension-C 80s chorus pedal brought into new age with logic processing, handling the radio buttons, but still using the old circuit design with the Companders and the 2 bucket brigade lines. Cool Audio chips are A-OK for Boss. Yeah, so let's put it back together. All right, so that wraps up the teardown of the Boss Waza Craft Dimension-C. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you have a recommendation for a pedal you want to see taken apart, feel free to comment that as well. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button and subscribing. Hit the notification bell if you want to know when I make a new video. And if you want to own this pedal right here and support the channel, there'll be a link in the description for the re-rib listing. I'm Joe from Gray Bench Electronics. Thank you for watching.